he was hard on us, as far as like practice, and he's very demanding, but he's so genuine. Like when he recruited me, one thing that my family fell in love with him about is that they can tell that he was telling the truth. When he talks, he was telling the truth, and so that really got our attention, and he really cared about not just me, but as a family and what he wanted me to become as a man. And so it was great playing for him. Still today, I have two boys and I have two daughters, and then my oldest daughter played volleyball, but everybody else played basketball.
Nice.
And so he actually made it known to come to watch each of my kids play in high school.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I mean, that's, and it's great because you see him hanging around town. He comes to games and stuff. And, it's great to see him still being active like that. When you got there, the 3-point line was still kind of a new thing, and at that time, I'm sure you remember a lot of people were kind of giving him flack, Coach Scrum flack, for not adapting, to the new rule, the 3-point line in college basketball. So you were one of his first, 3-point marksmen. Was that part of the recruiting pitch? Hey, I need you to come here, stay home, come play for the Cardinals, and be one of my 3-point guys.
That was one of the pitch, because I really wanted to go to school where I'd be able to shoot the 3-pointer. And coming out of high school, I only had a 3-pointer 1 year, but I worked that summer before that to really work on my craft of being a great 3-point shooter. And so when we got to Louisville, first thing he did was it was myself and Everett Sutherland, and you had Mike Case from Indiana was coming in, which was the guards that was, the 3-point shooters.
Mm-hmm.
And so he bought us all as a group, he bought us all these big balls, like gigantic basketballs. It was bigger than the regular basketball. And then, so what I did, I just shot with those every day. Some of the players didn't, but I shot with them every day in practice.
Huh.
Coach Jones worked with me, and he rebounded. Back then, we didn't have a shooting machine, so we always had, managers who's passing back to us, and so we worked on that constantly. But it was one of the things for me to be able to shoot the 3-pointer at U of L. But at first, he wasn't all in, because, as you know, I came off the bench my first year, so like normally my first shot was like a 3-pointer, because everybody was like keying on Purvis Ellison or Tony Kimber or Kenny Payne. And so I was left wide open, and he always used to say, "Brewer, you just don't have to take a 3-pointer. Your first shot don't have to be a 3-pointer." But I was like, "Coach, I'm wide open."
Yeah, that's why it's here. That's part of the game. And now you fast forward to today. I mean, and it's now huge and instrumental part of the game. We're almost to the point. Well, to the point where you can get criticism if you're taking those mid-range jumpers, where it's like, if you took a step back, you could get 3 or attack the rim. I mean, it's kind of like, the art of hitting those, mid-range jumpers is almost a lost art these days.
Yeah, I think a lot of them in college basketball, even in high school, that a lot of coaches, a lot of teams are shooting more threes than they are twos. So the mid-range game is a lost art now.
Yeah.
And so, you got to adjust,
Well, you're a coach now, so how do you coach that? I mean, is it kind of that if you're close, make sure you're behind the arc, or is that kind of up to the player?
No, it's up to the player. And my philosophy is, if you open and you don't shoot, then I might as well just take you out.
There you go.
And so we work on shooting twos, we work on shooting threes. I just want you to take a good shot that I think that's good for the team. And so I don't limit them I don't tell them not to shoot the ball. I want them all to shoot, because, you have guards who don't want to shoot, won't shoot the ball, but then everybody's backing off of him because they're quick and this and that, but he's going to have to shoot the ball. So I'm a shooter's coach, I guess.
And that's probably something that Louisville fans love to hear. Obviously, you're coaching a future Cardinal, JJ Traynor, 4-star kid. He's in the top 100 prospects nationally on 247 Sports. I think the number 14 powered forward prospect. Look, I mean, a guy that looks like he does need to bulk up, as most incoming freshmen do. But as a shooter's coach, what do you see from JJ out on the floor as a shooter?
Well, I've had him since he was probably in the 5th grade, and I watched him grow and grow. And then I guess ever since he was an 8th grader all the way to probably his mid of his junior year, he probably only took one 3-point shot. And so over last summer, he really worked on his 3-point shot. And now this year, he shot a little bit over 40% from the three, and which is really good for him. And he's working on it now. He's actually shooting better now than he was during the season because he's had more time to work on his game now. And so I look for him really to contribute at the 3-point line, and also his athleticism is something that it's unbelievable. I mean, and his work ethic is unbelievable. But he's a great on ball defender, but he really can shoot the ball really well. Mid-range game is great. He has a very soft touch, and he has a high release, so it's hard to block his shot.
Nice. And that was kind of leading me up to a question I had for you as well. And this was also asked in our chat here. With the lockdown, and as you said, you're on a dead period, so you can't communicate much with them, but do you have a sense of what kind of things he's able to do during this? Obviously, a lot of gyms are closed and that kind of thing. Has he got, access to a hoop, that kind of stuff?
I actually can talk to him just because he's, he's graduating.
Yeah,
so he's
not, that's true. There you go.
He's coming back, and he's already committed to play at Louisville. But, I FaceTime the other day. He was doing his homework and stuff. And so we kind of talk at least three times a week.
Nice.
But right now he is actually in Louisville with Dion Lee, which is like my little brother, which was his AAU coach.
Yeah.
And he's working out twice a day. He's working on his strength as well, and then he does skill work in the afternoon.
One of the questions from our message boards at Cardinal Authority came from Luke Chambers. He asked about JJ. What's his greatest attribute at this point?
His greatest attribute to me right now is his basketball IQ.
Yeah.
Like it's really good. I know that everybody wants to compare him to his dad, but it's totally different player, totally two different players as far as that. JJ shoots the ball better than his dad. And I know this is hard to believe what I'm gonna say, but JJ is more athletic than his dad. He doesn't pass the ball as well as his dad, but he's phenomenal. You're gonna enjoy watching him play.
Nice. Obviously, it sounds like a guy who's got a ton of potential still up front of him.
He does.
When you see him, and it sounds like he's got plenty of individual motive. I mean, just inner fire, that inner drive to continue to get better. Is that something that you see from him quite often?
Yes, his drive to get better is far by none. I mean, the thing I liked about him too is that he's very competitive, and his work ethic is unbelievable. For someone in the last 10 months, he went from nobody to being ranked in the nation, and that's something that he did on his own. That's something that he came to me and Coach Lee, which is Dion Lee, his AAU coach, that he wanted to get better. And so what he did to do that was phenomenal. He really had to sacrifice different things as far as hanging out with his friends and stuff like that, because he would work out with me at 6 a.m. at Bardstown, and then in the evening on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays and Sunday, he would drive to Louisville and work out, and then we'll continue to do that. So we did that for, many mornings and many evenings.
Nice. And obviously that's going to be something that Coach Mack loves from him as well. Yeah. Let's go back to, I guess, your playing days as well. This is another question from the message board. Huddle House asks, what was the kind of craziest thing that Coach Crum did in practices? Any good memories there?
At the time, I thought the craziest thing was, at the time when I was there, I thought the craziest thing is that we worked on our press and defense every single day. There wasn't a day that we did not work on our press defense or our switching defense. And I'm like, man, we got to do this again today. It just kept on. Yeah. But he was really training us for when we get in the game that you wasn't thinking how to play defense. You just reacting, you just playing. And so I think that was, at the time I thought that was crazy. But now I look back, I found myself as a coach doing the same thing that he was teaching us when I was playing.
Yeah, that's nice. Now, when you got to Louisville, you came with a nice recruiting class. You mentioned a couple of the guys a few minutes ago. As I was refreshing my memory to those days, came across an article on The Athletic. I guess that you and Everett, you know where I'm going with this already. You and Everett were talked about it. Yeah, there you go. So that goes back to you guys. The L's go up to you guys, huh?
It does. It does. I mean, it's hard to believe, but it's like everybody, I know they use it a lot now, L's up and this and that, but like we actually found pictures when we was freshmen where we was, they would call our name and we would hold the L's up, and then the cheerleaders would hold the L's up. So it really started with us, with myself and Eric Sullivan, Derwin Webb, Cornelius Holden, and Mike Case. And so and that's actually when we went to the Elite Eight we lost to Illinois.
Yeah.
With Kenny Battle and Minnesota, which I think Purvis tweaked his knee and something because we was all ready to go to that Final Four.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody was expecting it too. I mean, you guys, the ball team. I mean, do you guys get a chance to, I guess, think back? Do you guys connect on Zoom or text or phone and just kind of relive the old days every now and then?
Well, it's you asked that because we as a group, our class, we got a tradition now that we meet in Louisville like in August.
Nice.
And we meet in Louisville, and then we invite all the players. Last year we had a bunch, like Scooter came out, Wade. It was a bunch of old the old coaches as well. But we met at Daryl Griffin's place and we ate there, and we just go back and we just start talking about memories and just the good old times and laugh, and it was great. So we try to do that every other year. And so try to get together and try to, we also invite any player that played at Louisville, we try to invite everybody we can.
One of your biggest games, you poured in 26 points. I think you came off the bench that game. It was the second round, if I'm remembering correctly, second round game in the NCAA tournament. You guys were playing Oklahoma State, who I think was the 5. You guys were the 4 seed, obviously to get to a trip to the Sweet 16. And you dumped in 20 points just in the second half, to lead the Cardinals to that game. Is that something, or to the Sweet 16? Is that something that that stands out as one of your greatest memories?
I think that was one of my greatest memories because, like, you did it during the the NCAA tournament, and so you work so hard to make it to that tournament, and we was a 4 seed, and man, it was a lot of great players, and Oklahoma State was a good team, and I could remember Coach Crum coming to me. Like, I think the day before or something, I had missed a ball and ran into the bleachers, and I got like a slight concussion. Yeah. But then they cleared me to play this game, and so I came off the bench, and I can remember me going in, and he was telling me, he's like, if you open, shoot it. And I looked at him like, normally he don't tell you, but
yeah.
but they had the. But Oklahoma State had the big guy in the middle called Big Country. Yeah. And so that was one of the things. We had Cliff Rozier and so we had a good team as well.
Yeah, that was Actually, let's go to a question from the chat here. Doug is asking, as a kid, who was your favorite player? One, I guess, the guy that kind of you shaped your game like.
As a kid, I had an uncle. His name is Warren Downs. Played at Bardstown, and he was, when I was growing up. When I was playing on the back court, he was one of them I always wanted to be like, because he was a phenomenal player. And so I was like doing different things, like I'm Warren Downs, but that was something that I wanted to do. But then, watching, everybody said I look like Johnny Dawkins, so I always used to watch Johnny Dawkins play, and then. Probably the most is probably Dr. J. Everybody wanted to be Dr. J when I was growing up.
Yeah. Obviously, as the game evolved, I guess it looks like you kind of, took aspects that, a couple of different of those guys, obviously.
Yeah, I tried, except for my uncle, because he's like 6'7", so I didn't get his height. So
still, got the job done. Another question from the chat: how good of a football player were you, and how were you close to, college football? Was that a thing?
Well, that's funny because my kids still today, talk about like, Dad, you should have played football. And I looked at them, I'm like, why? That's like, we would just be set. I'm like, listen, I'm happy with what we have now, but playing football, my schools that was Oklahoma, Florida State, Louisville, Kentucky, and Nebraska. That was the schools that I was on my list to go. And so, I mean, I was a good football player,
Yeah.
But I was like at the time being a football player, I wanted to be like Eric Dickerson. I wore number 42. I was 6'2", 6'3", just like him. And so that was one of the things I idolized. And then after my playing days at Louisville, I did try out for the 49ers and the LA Rams and Cincinnati Bengals and stuff like that. But I just feel like that those 5 years that I missed from football, like the 49ers, I actually made the practice squad, but then, it's not guaranteed money. So then I just decided to continue to play basketball.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, how difficult was it to choose basketball over football?
It was very difficult, but I think one of the main reasons I did choose basketball was my grandma, who she passed away. But the thing with her was she didn't want me. She loved me to play football, but she didn't want me to play football in college because and I asked her why, and she's like, because I can't see your face on TV if you play football.
There you go.
And so that was one of the reasons I chose to play basketball.
Did you ever think about, or was you ever approached to, hey, come out and play football while you're at U of L?
Yeah, actually, me and Durham Well was approached by Snellenberger to play.
Yeah.
And then at the time, we just decided, I think we went to like maybe 3 or 4 practices, and then we decided that, we're just going to go play basketball because it was taking too much time, and so we decided just to play basketball.
There you go. Now, appreciate Sean tossing that question in. One of my memories that I have of you is when they used to have this thing called the Big Four Classic. Remember that?
Yes, love that classic.
Yeah, I mean that's my question. I mean, how awesome would it be to have that today? I mean, and even stretch it out to 6 or 8 teams.
I think they should still. I mean, I missed that because that was something that you got to go to the Hoosier Dome, and it was packed, and you had Indiana fans, you had Kentucky fans, as far as basketball, because you had Louisville and Kentucky, then you had Indiana and Notre Dame, and so it was great because like one year we played Notre Dame, and I actually got to play against a guy named Kevin Eller who played in my region and my district.
Nice.
And so he played for Notre Dame, and then you got to play against the great Indiana teams, and then Kentucky will play opposite team or whatever. But I just thought that was something that that we look forward to because you just take a bus, we go to Indianapolis and we stay, and then you got to see four great teams play.
Yeah, I mean, we used to go up there. I remember I was so far up there. It's one of those things. Like, I think that's Boo down there. Just yell Boo.
Yeah.
And then obviously when you do something, you could tell because of the place just filled up.
Oh yeah.
What was that like? Obviously, your first few games at Louisville, people realizing, hey, his nickname's Boo, and I mean, clearly it became a thing at Freedom Hall. I mean, what was that like for you?
It did. Just to hear that in Freedom Hall was, I mean, it just gave you chills because it was like I had 19 plus 20 plus 1,000 people in there yelling my name and just if I did something good, like diving on the floor or getting a steal or hitting a 3, just to hear him say that was a great feeling.
Yeah. Now another question that's come in from Mike actually. Wants to know, obviously, Chris Mack, when he came here, one of the first things he did was kind of reach out to the past. I mean, his starter jacket was a nod to the old school days with the same font on that jersey that's behind you. I've seen you in pictures in the past when he's had players over. What's he like, talking with the former players, and how much is he actually having you guys involved?
I love playing for Coach Crum, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But just something when I met Coach Mack, like I can just tell that he cared about his players and that he was a player coach, and I would love to have played for him, because I can just tell that. And plus, we kind of like the same age anyway. But just when he did that, it really opened our eyes to knowing that he hasn't forgot about. He knows the tradition about at U of L, and so just like when we first got to U of L, we we actually had a Zoom meeting with, all of my classmates, with Everett and Derwin and Cornelius. And one thing we talked about was in the summertime, Crawford Gym. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't realize how much talent was in Crawford Gym in the summertime. So when I first got there, I got to play against Daryl Griffin, Rodney McCray, Scooter McCray, Derek Smith, and Lancaster Gordon. And so we was playing against them. And so when that brought back, they kind of they showed us the tradition about U of L. And so I think that's what Chris is, Coach Mack is doing now. And I really like that, because I think it's just bringing us back together as a whole. And, as Louisville, we had a lot of bad publicity, but now this is good publicity. Yeah. I think it's good for the university.
You bring up Crawford. That was something on my list to bring up. I used to go down there and I'd be one of those kids that are guys standing along the wall just watching you guys practice. I remember sweating to death, and imagine what you guys players were like. I mean, any awesome stories, from the Crawford? Obviously, you rattled off some really impressive names there.
Whew. I think the most awesome story is how on the court, how mean Derek Smith was. I mean, it was it's hard to describe because he hate to lose. And to be honest with you, I didn't think he lost, if he lost a game there, because he always picked who he wanted. But I can remember him and LeBradford Smith going at each other. And I can remember LeBradford kind of scored on him. And then he comes back, and then I think Purvis may have blocked his shot and then come down, and then Scooter Rodney scored on Wally Brown or something like that. And I was on the opposite team. I was actually guarding Daryl Griffin, so I was actually running around picks. And so I can remember LeBradford has the ball and he does something, and I can remember Derek Smith fouls him real hard and cuts him across the face. And LeBradford has to go to the hospital. And Derek didn't blink an eye, so we just kept playing. And then after, he goes to the hospital and picks LeBradford up and takes him out to eat, and just kind of tell him, man, you did good, and this is part of the game, and I'm sorry, and but he was just showing, you got to be tough as a Cardinal.
Did you see? I mean, those are the type of things. I mean, I didn't see that, but you would go down to Crawford. It was basically a daily thing, and you never knew what you could expect to speak, especially during the summer when other guys from around the country were coming into play as well.
Oh yeah, you had Winston Bennett, you had everybody that if they lived, within 20 or 40 miles from Louisville, everybody knew to go to Crawford Gym. Yeah. And it's amazing, because I wish now you look back, everybody has the smartphones, cell phones, and videos. But I think if that right there would have been a classic, just to have somebody film that, because it was so many great athletes or NBA players or, that was under one building, and all they want to do is just play basketball.
Yeah. And the talent level in that building at times was charts. I mean, it was unreal. Yeah, that would have been, it's a shame there wasn't one of those security cameras up in the corner recording something. Right? Man. Just a few more minutes left with you. And again, appreciate you, Boo, for taking some time with us. Let's talk a little bit more about JJ. Obviously, a guy that's growing still, a guy that's developing. Going into year one, do you see a guy that could come in and get some impactful minutes, maybe on a game basis? Or is this something that, you may have to, obviously you might be a little biased because you're his coach, or how do you see, I guess a better question is, how do you see his progression coming along?
I am biased about that when it comes to him, because he's like a son to me, and I watched him work so hard, and nothing against the players that's there now, but I just know that when he gets on that court, he's got one mission, he's got one goal, and it's like I told him, it's up to him, however minutes he plays or he gets, he's got to earn those. Mm-hmm. And I look for him really contributing this year. I wouldn't count him out as starting either, because I think that he has that much that he can give, but I really think if he really concentrates, he hits the weights, and he really working on his skill set. Right now, he can play the 3 or the 4. Yep. He shoots the three real well. Four, he's got to beef up a little bit to take the pounding, but I just think I can see him really contributing this year. And if he doesn't start, that's okay. But I just think that him coming off the bench would be just as satisfying as well, because I know that this kid is going to work. He's going to work hard, and there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to do whatever it takes to get his playing time.
You know if he gets to spend much time, with the current players? Has he had a chance to play around with them much? Or
no, I actually have talked to his weightlifting coach. So and until he graduates from high school, they can't really. He hasn't really had any time to go down there. With everything that's happened right now.
Yeah.
I think that they can send him like his email him his like weight program and nutrition stuff like that. But as far as having hands on, they haven't had any hands on yet. So that's actually been up to myself and Dion to right now so we trying to get him ready so when that first practice does come.
How cool is it though to create an in-state product that's going to come in and play for one of the most tradition-rich programs in the country?
It's great. I mean, it's something that I think ever since he was probably in 8th grade, I always knew that he would like play somewhere. In the back of my mind, I'm like, why not go to Louisville? And he worked so hard to get where he's at now. And for me to be part of that, to see him progress, he trusted me to prepare him and trust Dion to work him out as well. And so, and then to see that how much he does want it and how much he loves it. And it's been great. It's a great coaching him. I've had a lot of great players come from Bardstown, and he's one of them too.
One day he'll probably be right there in that Bardstown Athletic Hall of Fame with you as well.
Oh, he probably will.
get his jersey up on the wall in the gym and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I told him he can't get his jersey on the wall because he can put it in the locker room, but he can't put it on the wall yet.
Yeah, it's gonna take some time. You got to earn that, right?
Yeah, you got to earn that. You got to get, at least you get in your 40s. I'll let you do that then.
There you go. Hey, Coach, I appreciate you taking some time with us. Obviously a very unique situation. We're all kind of stuck at home. So, before I let you go, how well are you surviving there? I mean, you're not losing your mind yet and, or anything like that. I know you like to fish. Have you had a chance to get out and do any of that?
I have. My daughter tried to get me to take her yesterday, but instead of we going fishing, we actually planted a garden. So,
oh, nice.
So
his birthday, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we did that, but no, it's been good. This part about quarantine and stuff, I was telling my wife, it kind of reminds me when I played professionally overseas. You go to practice and you come back, and then you're kind of in the house, and then you watch TV, and so this is, I'm fine with it. I don't think I do miss going to the gym and working out with my players and just getting out and trying to, by this time I've done been to Louisville maybe 3 or 4 times to watch, individual workouts and stuff like that. And so I kind of miss that right now.
Yeah, it's certainly a unique time. And, and again, appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule.
No, I thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So maybe we'll have to do it again as things progress, and we can talk a little bit more about as JJ progresses too. So
yeah, sure.
Right. Best to you and your family. You guys stay healthy, and we'll see you when we get out of this.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. See y'all.
We'll see you, Coach.